welcome! Today we will be covering another one of the basics of amigurumi, the invisible decrease. In this video I'll show you how to do a traditional decrease and why the invisible decrease is better for amigurumi as well. Friendly reminder, I do use US terminology. Here are some of the stitches you'll see in this video and their abbreviations. Now to show you how to decrease, I'm going to be making a sphere. In a previous video I showed you how to crochet an even circle. This partial sphere was made using that pattern from my previous video, then doing 7 rows of single crochet all the way around. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link in the corner up here so you can check it out. Now to make this sphere, I used Hobby Lobby's I Love This yarn in Orchid, which is color 290, to make the circle, this even circle. And then I did 7 rows in Amethyst right here that were just single crochet all the way around. So again, all the increased rows I did with Orchid, and these single crochet, no increases or decreases, I did in Amethyst. That way you could see exactly where the change was. I also used this Boye ergonomic handle crochet hook. This is size 5 millimeters or US size H. Keep in mind when you're doing amigurumi, you'll typically use a crochet hook 1 to 2 sizes smaller than the yarn recommends. For the sake of demonstrating the stitches in this video, I'm using a larger hook. Another thing that is rather important is using a stitch marker. Now there are some amazing individuals out there that can crochet amigurumi without using a stitch marker. I'm not one of them, and if you can't do that either, there's no shame. I think the individuals that can crochet amigurumi without a stitch marker are amazing, but they are definitely in the minority. Now, if you don't want to use a stitch marker just like this one, you have other options. You can use a piece of scrap yarn, a bobby pin, safety pin, a hair tie. In all reality, all you need is something to go into the first stitch of every round to denote that is the first stitch. Now that we've talked about everything we used to make this and what we're going to need to continue this sphere, let's get started. First things first, I'm going to change back to the orchid colored yarn. Now, if you'd like to see a tutorial on the different ways to change yarn colors and the best times to use those different methods, go ahead and drop a comment down below. I'd love to make that video for you guys. Just let me know if that's something you would be interested in. But that is not the purpose of this video. This video is all about decreasing in amigurumi. So we are going to stick to that. Now, just like when we were making a circle, we had to change by 6 stitches every round. So we started right here with a little ring of 6 single crochet, then we went to 12, then we went to 18, etc., all the way to this 42 stitches around, which is what we did right here for the body of our circle. We did 42 single crochet all the way around. Now we're going to do basically the same thing for the top of my circle, or bottom, depending on what direction you're really looking at. We're going to go from 42 down to 6 by decreasing by 6 every single row. So this decrease, first I'm going to show you a traditional decrease. It's going to look something like this. You're going to insert your hook through both loops of the previous rows, single crochet, draw up a loop or yarn over, pull it to the front. We're going to do the same thing in the next stitch. Yarn over, pull through. So now we have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3. And you can see already that this decrease does not look like a typical single crochet. It's very visible. You can tell that that is where a decrease is. Now I'm going to single crochet 4 because that's what's next in my pattern. Then I'll show you an invisible decrease. Okay, for an invisible decrease, we are going to insert our hook through the front loop only of the previous row's single crochet. So instead of going through both loops like this, we're going to go through this front one only. And a great way to make sure you have the front loop only is put your finger over the back loop. That way you can only see the first loop and it's easier to ignore that back loop. Perfect. Now don't yarn over and draw up a loop. Instead, we're going to insert our hook through the front loop only of the next stitch as well. Fantastic. Now yarn over, pull through both of those front loops, yarn over again, and pull through. And you can see already that as far as the anatomy of this stitch, it looks just like a normal single crochet. So especially compared with this big clunky traditional decrease over here, this invisible decrease looks fantastic. I'll go ahead and do my 4 single crochet, and I will show you another invisible decrease. Perfect. So same thing, we're going to insert our hook through the front loop only of the next 2 stitches, yarn over, pull back towards the front, yarn over, and pull through the 2 loops on my hook. Now I'm going to finish up my sphere using both kinds of decreases, traditional decreases and invisible decreases, just so I can show you what it looks like at the very end of the project. The biggest difference between the two, as far as on the inside of the project, the biggest way you can tell that an invisible decrease has happened is if you look on the inside, you can see these are the 2 back loops that I did not insert my hook through. So these are very easy to see on the back side of a project, which is why the invisible decrease is great for amigurumi, not necessarily great for everything else. Now again, I'm going to continue and finish up this sphere, and when I get to the very end, I will show you what both kinds of decreases look like on a finished object. Welcome back. I have finished up my little sphere, which I'm going to make into a holiday ornament. I'm pretty excited about that. But if you look down here, this was our first traditional decrease. This over here was our first invisible decrease. Now you can see these guys periodically throughout this side of the work and the traditional decreases, and they are not very subtle. You can see them. The worst bit, in my opinion, is that you can feel them. You can feel these decreases very easily. Whereas if I turn this 180 degrees on this side, I only did invisible decreases, which if you're looking very closely and counting the stitches, you can see where they've happened, but it is rather difficult. And texturally, feeling it, it is just smooth, just like this is smooth. Thank you for watching this video. If you've learned something today or have been entertained, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And while you're at it, please consider subscribing to my channel. Click the bell icon to be notified every time I release a new video. I post a step-by-step stitch tutorial just like this one, or a beginner-friendly pattern every single weekend. Happy holidays, and ta-ta for now.